Hello, welcome to my channel, guys. I'm Tori Lynn. Today I'm going to be doing my everyday makeup routine. It's really easy and really quick. If you guys are looking for something simple and easy, this is it. And enjoy the video. Let's get right in. Okay, let's jump in. So since this is my everyday makeup routine, I'm going to start at the beginning and work my whole way through it. It's a pretty quick routine, so I'm going to start with my skincare, which I start with an eye cream, and I have been using the Murad Renewing Eye Cream that I got in my Fall FabFitFun. I've been using this pretty much every day. I was using for a long time the Dr. Brandt, what is it, No More Baggage, I believe. But then I got this one and I actually really like it. The only thing I like about the Dr. Brandt one is it does some color correcting, but this one does a good job at depuffing you. So a little drop of that and work it around the eyes. Sorry, I've got a little bit of red seal going on. Just had my brows waxed this morning. Now I'm going to moisturize my face with my Clinique Dramatically Different Gel Moisturizer, and I mix that with the Cosmetics Pure C Vitamin C Crystals. Just gonna put a little bit of my Clinique on my hands. So I do, good size drop on my hands, but not a ton. This little does go a long way. And then a couple shakes of my crystals. Mix them together in my hands and then just apply them to the skin. Alright, now we are moisturized and ready for makeup. Let's go ahead and put our foundation on. I have been loving the IT Cosmetics CC cream. This is in the shade Fair. I have been wearing this pretty much every day since I got it. Every once in a while I have switched it up, but this has been kind of my go-to. So I'm going to use it today again in this video. I have used it a few times in my last several videos because it's been my jam lately. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and use my damp beauty sponge. I had somebody ask in one of my previous videos to kind of go over the role of the beauty sponge a little more. So to start, I wet my beauty sponge down. You wet it down because when it's dry it absorbs more product, and you don't, especially if you're buying high-end makeup, you don't want your beauty sponge to absorb half of your product because then your product's not going to last as long. So wetting it down is the big key. And then this is an Aesthetica beauty sponge, but I use the big round end, which most beauty sponges have a big fat round end. This one is a Tarte beauty sponge. Again, it still has a big fat round end. I use the big round end to either apply my foundation, depends on what foundation I use. Sometimes I use my beauty sponge to apply my foundation. Other times I use it just to buff out any brush streaks if I use the brush. This foundation, when I first got it, I kind of tried it both ways, and I decided I liked it better applied with the beauty sponge instead of just buffed out, So I use it to either blend out my foundation if I use a brush to get rid of any brush streaks, or I use it to apply. And then the other side, the tapered skinny edge, I use to bake my under eye and conceal. I use the skinnier end because it gets right up under the eye a lot easier than this big fat guy does. But I have the sponge I typically use for baking is the Tarte one, and I like the Tarte one because it's got this nice, crisp, clean, flat edge there. I feel like it gets up under the eye super well also. I don't typically wet my sponge when I bake. Sometimes I do, most of the time I do not, but it's all preference thing. Okay, now I got my foundation on. We're gonna go ahead and conceal. Every day I pretty much use my Tarte Shape Tape. This is in the shade Porcelain Beige. It's one of the lightest shades that they have. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put some of that under the eye, the chin and the forehead, and then of course the bridge of the nose, and buff that out. Just take my wet beauty sponge and buff it out. I'm gonna bake using my Coty translucent airspun powder. This product has been my go-to for setting and baking for probably 2 or 3 years now. And I'm just gonna use my Tarte beauty sponge, dip it in the powder, and just go ahead and set that. Alright, now that our cake is in the oven, I'm gonna go ahead and toss on my brows. I pretty much on a day-to-day basis use my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Dip Pomade in the shade Taupe. So I'm gonna go ahead and toss those on, and I will be right back. Brows are on. I probably should show you what I use for my brow brush. I use the Morphe R44 brush. It's just a real nice skinny angled brow brush with, of course, the brow spoolie on the end. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the eyes. I'm just going to buff out those creases of makeup that kind of settle in there. And I'm going to use Huda Beauty Rose Gold palette, and I'm going to grab the shade Bay. It's the really light, creamy, kind of vanilla-y shade. And I'm just going to grab a standard packing brush here, and I'm going to take that shade and I'm going to set my lid with it. So I'm not going to use like a typical eyeshadow base or eyeshadow primer or even just my foundation. I'm just going to use a simple eyeshadow. Take it all the way up to the brow just to set all that product in nicely. Okay, now that we've got our lid set, I'm going to grab a, what is this, a BMX 430 crease brush from R&L Moda Pro. And I'm going to grab the bronzer I plan on wearing today, which is going to be the NARS bronzer. I think this is the diffused bronzer in the shade Seaside. And I am just going to swirl my brush in there and pop that in the crease. Because this is my everyday kind of look, I don't do a whole lot of eyeshadow. I keep it pretty simple. So I'm going to work it up fairly high above the arch just because I still want to be noticeable, since this is going to be our only crease shade. We're not going to be building up any depth or anything today. And I'm not too picky about whether that shadow builds down onto the lid at all. Honestly, it really doesn't make a big deal because this look is so simple. The next thing I'm going to do is go back into that rose gold palette, and I'm going to dip into this pink shade called Angelic. It's a very shimmery metallic. These shades are actually foil shades, so the best way to use them to get the most pigment out of them is to use your finger. So I'm just going to rub my finger in and then pack that onto the lid. I'm not going to really work it up into the crease or anything. I'm just going to focus it right on the lid. And I'll go in and I'll pack on like 2 or 3 layers just to get a nice coverage of it. One layer you can see doesn't have quite the pigment that the first layer does. I'm just going to go and do a second layer right over top of it. I'm not being too careful about anything. I'm literally just packing it on the lid. Then I'm going to go in with the shade right below it called Moon Dust. It's a very champagne-y gold shade. And I'm just gonna use the same finger because it's not a big deal. And I'm gonna pat that right over top of that pink shade. I'm only going in with one layer. This I feel like brightens it up a little bit more without getting too crazy. And then that is it for the shadow. Let's go ahead and set the face now. I'm again gonna use my Coty Translucent Airspun Powder. And I'm just gonna take a big fluffy, this is a R&L Moda Pro BMX 130. And I'm just gonna set my face. Once the face is set, we are going to bronze up, and I'm going to stick with that same bronzer I used in my crease shade. I'm just going to grab a, what is this? This is just a powder brush. Before I put the bronzer away, just gonna go ahead and contour my nose. This is an Anastasia Beverly Hills brush that came in I think it was the Modern Renaissance palette. They have really nice brushes that come in their palettes, and I like this one for contouring my nose. Now that we're bronzed up, I'm gonna grab my favorite go-to blush. This is the Laura Geller Baked Blush in the shade Tropic Hues. And this is a Crown brush, and it's just a dense powder brush from Crown. I'm just gonna go and work that product onto the cheeks. And I go in with a pretty heavy hand. I like a nice blushed up look, especially during the colder months. To look a little warm and toasty. And then I did just a little on the nose. For highlight, of course, I'm going to be using the Mary Luminizer from The Balm. She is one of my faves, and this is I'm going to be using a Me brush. It's just a nice soft brush. Up. Once we're beaming to the gods, let's go ahead and set the face. Actually, scratch that. We'll set the face in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and put my inner corner highlight in. I'm going to use the same shade I use in every single one of my videos. It is the shade Gentle from Unique Cosmetics. So take my brush that I use every day for this, just a packing brush, and pop that on the inner corner and the brow highlight. I'm going to take this chunky Morphe brush here, buff out the line between the highlight and the shadow, just to give everything a nice smooth blend. Now we can set the face. I'm going to use my Urban Decay Vitamin B6 Infusion Spray. The last thing we're going to do for the eyes is mascara. I'm going to use my Superhero Mascara from IT Cosmetics. To finish off the look, I'm gonna do my lips. It's the last step, and I'm gonna be using the Lorac Pro matte lip color in the shade Nude Pink. I figured a nude pink is a pretty natural lip color. You know, it's just real soft, it's real subtle. So this is something I wear pretty regularly. I do switch it up a little, but it always stays in that pretty nude pink area. Let's go ahead and put that on my lips. Alright guys, so that is it for the look. Please let me know what you think. If you want to see more videos like this, or you want to see more complicated makeup videos, please let me know. I really like this look. Is just super easy. It's really quick, but it looks good every day. Anyways, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to comment down below and hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.